So in our last video about minor pentatonic scales, we were talking about linear sequences and what we could use from those sequences to create a more interesting vocabulary with minor pentatonics. In this video, we're going to be talking about some ways of thinking of nonlinear sequences, so sequences that don't rely on consecutive scale steps going up. The easiest way to do that is using diatonic intervals from a particular scale system, and the scale system that we're using is minor pentatonic. So, like diatonic thirds, fourths, fifths, etc. So the easiest way of doing this with G minor pentatonic is to think of G minor pentatonic thirds. So we start on G, and then we count up diatonic scale steps, 3 diatonic scale steps, hence a third. So G, B flat, C. So we find that C is the diatonic third up from G within the scale system of G minor pentatonic. And this is an important thing to note because it's not an intervallic third. It's an intervallic perfect fourth, but it's a diatonic third within that particular scale system. Cool. So we got G up to C. So then the next step is to find, okay, the diatonic third up from B flat. So B flat, C, D. So D is the diatonic third. Then the diatonic third up from C. So C, D, F. Intervallic perfect fourth, but a diatonic third. So we keep going and keep that pattern going up all the way to the top and then all the way back down. Cool. So remember to practice that all up and down the neck, every inversion, every key, etc. Blah, 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 blah. But remember, that's not the music. The music comes when you figure out how to do all that sort of stuff in different rhythms over different grooves. So let's take this Santana chord progression, G minor 7, C7, which is perfect for G minor pentatonic, and then sequence that pattern, that third pattern, in eighth notes. Cool, and let's do it on the offbeat. Cool, alright, so that's basic stuff. Now let's do it in 16th notes. Let's do it in 16th notes, but on the offbeat. So, I don't know, something like that. Let's do it on the offbeat, the 16th note offbeat. So, let's do it on the other 16th note offbeat, the ba-da-da-da. Yeah, so like this. Alright, so those are a few things. Let's try doing it now with the triplet rhythm. It's like this. Cool. Now let's try doubling up on the first note. So it's a 3-note pattern, but we'll phrase it in 16th notes. So check out how this will sound. Let's try doubling up on both notes and phrase it as a triplet. Alright, so I messed up a little there, but you get the picture. Okay, so there's a bunch of whole different ways that you can use this pattern, especially when you mess around with doubling up on the notes. You can create very interesting sort of phrases that go in and around the bar line. What about adding a 16th note rest to this pattern, and so you get another 3-note pattern. So check this out. That's another one. Okay, cool. So there's a lot you can do with this. Now, another thing that people like to do, myself included, is you notice with this pattern you're always going up or always going down. So up a third, up a third, up a third, up a third, up a third. One thing that a lot of people do is go up a third, so G up to C, and then go down a third on the next little chunk, so D down to B flat. And the next one go up a third, so C to F, next one go down a third. So alternating going up and down, so it sounds like this. So you notice that sounds like it's very intervallically active, but it actually lays on the bass really nicely because remember, even though it's in thirds, they're intervallic perfect fourths, and if you have your left hand technique up to snuff, that basically lets your hand glide very effortlessly across the fretboard while you're playing it. So, okay, let's come up with some ways we can play this. I mean, the easiest way, of course, is in eighth notes, but also 16th notes. You can do it in triplets. We could have a eighth note rest. No, that's a full note, or half note. Quarter note rest. Let's try this again. There we go, it's a little better. We could have a 16th note rest in there. Yeah. We could, oh man, we could double up on a note. So create a five note pattern. So let's see if I can do this. Like that. Alright, so there's a bunch of different ways that you can do with this. And again, like I mentioned in the other video, it seems like we're just scratching the surface of all the many different rhythmic aspects and really serial aspects and digital aspects of this concept of sequencing these specific concrete patterns and thinking of all the different rhythms we can play with them. So remember that, I mean, even though the minor pentatonic scale seems simple, there's a lot to it. And there's a lot that we can do with it. So hopefully in the next video on these diatonic sequences, since we were just talking about thirds, I'll show you diatonic fourths and fifths, which can get really awkward at points, but they, especially if you try and play them fast, like the physical aspects, since they're wide intervals. But it still can be very interesting sorts of sounds. Anyway, stay tuned.